Well, most people expect a history of the Second World War to start with the invasion of Poland in September 1939 and then end with the death of Hitler or VJ Day in 1945. But I think this underlines the fact how we got so many blind spots. We've always had these huge blind spots about the whole subject. My book starts in August 1939 on the Mongolian-Manchurian frontier, where General Zhukov defeated the Japanese. Now, it was not one of the biggest battles of the war by any means. There were many more titanic clashes to come, but it had a huge influence on the outcome of other events. And the book finishes, curiously enough, in August 1945, again as the Soviet armies sweep across Manchuria and North China. And I think this has a curious symmetry about the whole thing. The point, in many ways, of the book, of course, is to bring together so many different elements. I mean, we talk about the Second World War as if it was some sort of monolithic operation. In fact, there were many wars incorporated within it. One mustn't forget the Sino-Japanese War or the Finnish Winter War. And we always expect that it was something like the three major powers, the great Allied powers of Great Britain, Soviet Union and the United States against the main Axis powers of Germany and Japan. But in fact, it was far more complex than that. And I think that most people in many of the countries which have been occupied by an enemy found themselves caught up in what was essentially an international civil war. But the real point of the book, let's face it, of course, is to emphasize on the fate of the individual caught up in all of those events. I mean, just the other day I heard of a friend's father-in-law who'd recently died, and his last words were, "I can hear the cracking of the ice." And that was because, as a 6-year-old child, he'd been almost dragged by his mother across the ice of the Frische-Nierung to escape the Red Army in East Prussia. And it was therefore something which affected people for all their lives, and this is something we must never forget.